All right.
Hold on.
So anyway, there we go. I think we're coming up on live. We're coming up live right now. We for some reason the live stream wasn't working, but we now know that it is. I've got it here. So Cathy, I'll turn it back over to you to kind of welcome everybody aboard, and we'll get rolling.
Okay, well, good morning. I think our production guy said the weather was pretty bad, so we couldn't get the live going on, but we're back with Leadership Mississippi Coffee and Conversation. And we have some great people on the line today, and we have some great people on our screen. We're going to start off with our STAR students. We have 3 of our top 3 students. We call them all-star students from around the state. I have John Kees on the line. He's our top student from St. Andrews. I have Nathan King. I think that's our first runner-up from Tupelo, Mississippi. He's from
second runner-up.
He's from Tupelo, Mississippi. And then I have Riwad Iftekhar from MRA. And so we have those 3 guys, and we are excited to have them today. And they're joining more than 300 of STAR students from around the state of Mississippi from all of our school districts. I live in Madison County now. I have 3 kids that are products of Madison County, but I must admit I am a proud product of JPS. We have our president and CEO of Mississippi Economic Council, Scott Waller. Can you say hello to the live streamer, Scott?
Good morning. And I actually grew up in Shabota, went to Quitman High School, but was nowhere close to being a STAR student. So,
so Scott, what's the population in Shabota, Scott? We're just curious.
When I was there, it was a little over 300. It may not even be that today, unfortunately.
I think so.
Very small town.
Okay, and we have Vickie Powell, our Senior VP of Foundations, on the line. Vickie, can you tell us what you have going on today?
First of all, good morning to all of you. I'm happy to join you for Coffee and Conversation. And again, I'm Senior Vice President of Foundations. I've been here at MEC almost 14 years. I've enjoyed working with the STAR program since I've been here. We've done a lot of things to improve the program. And just happy to be here to join you all. And we work hard to get all of the awards and medals and everything out to all of the students, even during the pandemic. So happy to join you.
Thank you, Vickie. And Vickie has Rosie Thomas is not on the line, but Rosie is the veteran here at MEC. She's been here longer than any of us. And if you feel a little love when you open an envelope, that's because Rosie puts her heart into it and she loves every bit of it. And she called them when she's talking about it. She said, my students. She talks about my students here at MEC. And we have Katy Pacelli up there. You guys may know her from the Cook Foundation. And she's also a Leadership Mississippi alum. Katy, how are you doing up there?
Hey, I'm doing well this morning. Y'all are talking about being products of public school, and I'm a New Hope High School, Lowndes County product of a school. And I remember our STAR student very well. She was one of my really good friends. So that's probably back when there were like 150 people and not 300. So.
Look, they say when you think about who you are, put yourself, the top 5 people you're around. So if you had a STAR student that was a good friend of yours, that's a reflection of who you are. So with Coffee and Conversation, do we have some coffee drinkers on the phone? And what do you have in your cups? Do we want to talk about that? Scott, you like you're excited. What you have in your cup up there?
My cup is pretty simple. It's just it was some swag that was given to me a couple of years ago, but it's insulated, so I can put coffee in it and not worry. In an hour and a half, it's still good and warm. So it's the cup that I use daily. Nothing special in terms of nice quotes or anything, but it works, and that's the reason I use it. So
look, and you've been pretty busy. A lot of people kind of slow down a little bit, but I don't think here at MEC we've slowed down at all with everything that's going on. So I think you need that coffee for hours. So thank you, Scott. Katy, you have coffee up there for us?
I am not a coffee drinker, Cathy. I've got a Dr. Pepper here, though.
Look, caffeine
that is my poison in the morning.
Oh, no. So look, Nathan, I hear you have a cup. What do you have there?
I've got a mug that some people, some of my friends from school gave me. It's a dad joke because they noticed that I love telling dad jokes. They wanted to commemorate that by giving me this mug.
So look, when you're doing those dad jokes, is that what helped you, like when you're studying, just to break it up a little bit, to breathe a little bit with that cup?
I've used those a few times, but I just always enjoy messing around with my family and friends and stuff like that.
Well, now look, not to put you on the spot, but before we leave today, I think of a good dad joke, and we're going to do it in honor of our dads here today. So for those that, I'm pretty sure those that don't know what Star Student and MEC Star Student is, an education celebration, I'm going to take it to Vickie Powell. Wait, before I do that, my cup. I have a mug here that was given to me, and it's Dr. Seuss, and I felt like it was appropriate for the day. And it said, "Oh, the places you will go." So this is my coffee cup. It's not a Yeti, so I'm going to finish this coffee probably before this hour-long coffee and conversation, because it'll get cold. But let's talk about education celebration. And Vickie talked about how long she's been here and how much she loves her job. Can you tell us your role here at MEC, and what is education celebration? How do we honor the STAR students and the STAR teachers?
My role here at MEC is for the STAR student program, which STAR is an acronym for Student Teacher Achievement Recognition Program. I'm responsible for that, along with the Mississippi Scholars and Mississippi Scholars Tech Master programs. All of these programs are designed to reward and recognize students. In particular, today with the conversation on the STAR student program, we are happy that we are celebrating 55 years of the STAR program. Our theme this year is Above and Beyond. And I was just thinking, when everyone talked about where they grew up, I'm originally from Jasper County, and I'm proud of that. And looking back, when I did some research on the STAR program, I realized that I had a cousin. My dad's first cousin was part of the inaugural STAR student class back in 1965, 66. So it's just ironic that she was part of that class, and now this is a program that I'm responsible for, which I have enjoyed tremendously. Working with the STAR program, this year we had 332 students that we recognize across the state. We recognize those students with the top 20 with scholarships from the Kelly Jean Cook Foundation. We also recognize other students with scholarships if they decide to go to Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and the University of Southern Mississippi. They will also receive a scholarship from those schools as well. So each student, regardless of their ranking in the class, received a medallion, certificate, and lapel pin. The STAR students, we have specific requirements, and you can go online to look at those requirements. I won't go into detail with them. But the STAR students are also asked to select a STAR teacher. So each student selects a teacher that they feel had the greatest impact on their academic success. So we had STAR students and STAR teachers, so we had over 600 that we recognized statewide. And again, we are proud to do that. It's a tough process because we have to make sure that we process the applications correctly and use the ACT overall score, as well as the composite score and the grade point average to do that. So that's the STAR program. And like I said, again, congratulations to all of our students statewide for your hard work. Not just the students, but the STAR teachers, the school as a whole, the parents, the grandparents, and the community. So we know you all worked hard for this recognition, and we just want to salute you for your academic success.
Thank you, Vickie. Thank you. I think if you really think back, everybody has a STAR student, STAR teacher story. And, you know, we were talking about the grandmothers and your community. So I hope you're listening in. If you're not, we're going to have this recorded so you can share it with them and let them see what you're doing. A lot of times when we're here and we have it live and in person, everyone can't come because they have things going on. So the perk for this, you know, my grandmother would always say, there's a silver lining behind everything. So in this, and although some may not see it, is that for those grandmothers and those sisters that were in school or in work or just could not make it, they have this video here where we are recognizing, and you're going to see a video after this, where they're recognizing each one of these students by their names and the star student and their teacher that they selected and the cities that they're from. So I am excited that's happening. Katy, Vickie talked about scholarships, and she mentioned the Katy Jean Cook Foundation. And tell us about this in the scholarships, and who is Kelly Jean, and tell us all about this Kelly Jean Cook Foundation and your role there.
Yes, well, I am the executive director, so I manage the day-to-day operations for our board of directors. And we were founded in 1986 by Kelly Cook, and he is a Mississippian, grew up in French Camp, which is a very little town right off the Natchez Trace. And he has a degree in civil engineering. I don't know if y'all can see all the pictures behind me, but it's civil engineering equipment, and actually a photo of him right there. And so he was in the oil and gas pipeline industry, and he got very comfortable on his own. And so he had always wanted to, he grew up very poor, so he always wanted to give back to students in Mississippi. And so he started with a very small scholarship program for students who have financial need at several colleges. And then he died shortly after he started the foundation in 1980. Started in 1986, he passed away in 1989. And so they were able to expand the program. And one of his good friends from French Camp knew about the Star Student Program and knew that the Star Student Program needed some love and some extra money to help it grow. And so we invested at that time. And I believe we were giving scholarships to the top 3 students. And then also for the Star students that are number 4 through 20, we were giving a $500 scholarship, and additionally to their teachers. A couple years ago, the board voted to increase those awards to $1,000 for the students and teachers who are 4 through 20. So that increased our participation or our funding of the program. And we also added the STAR students are eligible for our graduate school scholarships. Our students who are on the need-based side, if they graduate with certain requirements, meet certain requirements, we will actually pay for their grad school or med school that they're going through. And so we have a couple of students now who are taking advantage of that. So we're happy to help. So we've been involved, just a couple of numbers, for 23 years. And over those years, we have awarded $1.7 million to STAR students.
Thank you. Thank you. I noticed you said, he had that heart of giving. And I tell my kids, and, when you're doing stuff for people, they say, what do I owe you? And you say, nothing. You just need to do for someone what
Right.
I've done for you. So that is my challenge to you. The 3 students that's watching on the line, and for those many that are not here, you can't see the pictures. That's something that I always remember. None of us could have gotten here alone. So if you have the opportunity and look, you find luck or energy in that oil, or you're that couple that was driving and found $1 million, just remember the Kelly Cooks of the world that gave back to help you do what you do. Scott, you're smiling up there. We're talking about giving back, and when doing that, we must talk about Mississippi College. Mississippi College, I've been with MEC for 16 years, and I think when I was here, we had the celebration at Mississippi College, and they gave us that space, but something tells me there's a perk in having 150 or 200 of your top students around the state on your campus. So look, we may not have paid them monetarily, but I think we had some brains on that campus that they can kind of show it off a little bit. So can you tell us about that, Scott, and tell us about the value of having these students at MEC's annual meeting and how we decided to do that?
Right. As you mentioned, for many years, we were at Mississippi College, and it was great. It was a great partnership to allow the students to come on the campus and recognize them. But we had the opportunity, and a lot of it had to do with facility. And when the Jackson Convention Center opened up, we saw the opportunity to combine our annual meeting, which MEC's annual meeting is held every April, late April, early May, depending on how the calendar falls. And it's really designed to bring the MEC members, business leaders from across the state, in for a morning of informational sessions and then our luncheon. And we realized we could combine the two. And doing so, it really opened the door for a larger group of STAR students. I think Vickie really went to the effort of saying, okay, we want to get everybody here. Let's make sure we're calling out every student's name out of the 300 or so that are now coming. 332 would have been here this year had we been able to do it as a live event. And their teachers, and recognizing their teachers. Then they join us, they join the business leaders for lunch, and we have an opportunity to recognize them there as well, particularly our top 3 students, which we'll have a chance to talk to in just a few minutes. And really, it's a chance to connect the business community to understanding the importance of these students, but more importantly, let the students understand what the role of the business community is, because we're hoping that many of these students will soon be part of these companies and helping these companies be successful. And I think that's where we can continue to grow not only our economy in the state of Mississippi, but make the connection with our best and our brightest students right here at home, which I think is so vitally important in helping grow Mississippi's economy. And again, we have three of the best with us today to talk a little bit about their experiences. But in reality, all 332 students, each of their teacher that they selected as their STAR student, deserve a lot of accolades. And I will tell you, it takes a lot of hard work to get to the level that these students have gotten to, and their future is very bright. And I think as they move forward, we're looking for great things out of each and every one of them. And I want you just to remember, our business community here in Mississippi is here to support you, and we look forward to you being part of that very soon.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. And I want to tell the students thank you, because I know you haven't been in school, so it's a little different getting up early, and you made a sacrifice because I think your tests are over, and you are here with us today. And I love quotes. We were talking about it earlier. They're on my wall behind me, but a quote that I think is appropriate for today. They said, as leaders, we have to continue learning. We can never stop learning. The moment you stop learning is the moment you stop living. And so they always say, you're never too old to learn and you're never too young to teach. So I think you guys are going to teach us a few things on the call today. And John, I think I'm going to start with you over there, because look, did I see a piano in the background? I hear a little bird told me that you love playing the piano and you started playing when you were 1 year old. Wow. But we're not going to make you in first grade, but we're not going to make you play the piano because we're not ready for that today. But we were talking about industries during COVID. They were talking about the industries that weren't doing well, but they were talking about some that were doing amazing. And one of those is the Lowe's and the Home Depots and the Huttos and all of these lawn and gardens, because we're in our homes and we're doing all these things in our homes. So I know you are excited this is over. You had a perfect score on the ACT, but I hear you know a little bit about plants. And can you tell us, for those that think they have a green thumb or some that may want to have a green thumb during this time, what can we do in our yards to help us make it look pretty, but don't harm our animals? I see you smiling over there. Don't harm our animals, and that can keep our yards from being taken over by roots and all of this good stuff that invades our yards and our clean space.
I guess so. I want to be a botanist, which is a little different from horticulture or forestry or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
But what I'm always trying to convince people to do is get rid of invasive non-native plants and replace them with native plants. So,
what are some native plants that you would recommend for Mississippi?
Well, some of the most popular ones I've noticed, Indian pinks. A lot of these are they're not well known, but what other?
What about like lantanas or the Indian hawthorn plants, all of those? How are they?
So those are both non-native. The Indian hawthorn is pretty harmless, but lantana, it's one of those plants that's it shouldn't be considered a desirable garden plant. It's a bad weed across the tropics that the garden industry brought in here and sold everyone as an heirloom.
Okay.
And it's starting to invade southern Mississippi. So you know how it's poisonous well, it can get into agricultural fields. So it can poison cattle and things like that in some places where it's really bad. And then it can also get into like citrus groves and mess up production. It'll take over beach dunes. You know how important those are.
Right.
Well, it's
So what piqued your interest in that particular field?
I've just kind of always been interested in plants.
Okay.
And then look, you were like, well, I'm studying botany. And I was telling someone earlier, and I said, did you know that your bio and your resume sometimes is what you want people to know about you, but there's like some little small letters in between those that has nothing to do with what's written on that paper, but talks about the things that we love, the things that we're passionate about. And I tell people all the time when I hear my bio being read, I was like, who is that person? And I was like, there's a watermark underneath that is really true to who I really am. And that bio, although I'm grateful for all of it, is just kind of, what we want people to, how that we want people to see us. But there's so much more to us to that. And I hear you had a pretty interesting internship, this past summer too. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I was working with Matt Wagner, the state ichthyologist with the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, doing fish surveys for a couple of endangered species in Mississippi, or one's federally threatened, the other is state endangered, I think. So I did a lot of field work, wading around streams, electrofishing.
Look, I don't know how safe that sounds, but if you're into something like botany and all of that, you have to really love what you're doing. You have to really love what you're doing. So we're excited about that. We're gonna come back to you because look, we know we have your score when we can see that on our Facebook page and we can see it on our website, but I want to tell them something else about you that they don't know. So we've learned that you love to play the piano, botany, and you're always out in the yard. And what have you been doing to entertain yourself during COVID other than working? Because I know you haven't slowed down with schoolwork either. I know it's just now starting to trail off for you guys. What have you been doing?
School is pretty much over now for me because my last AP exam was on Monday. So I've been doing yard work, piano, video games.
Look, how much would you charge me to come in my yard and say, look, Miss Cathy, you need to just get rid of all of this and this is what you need to do. Would you charge me for that? Or would it be like a pro bono? Remember the quote I told you earlier, how to give back. So
I mean, if you emailed me pictures, I could tell you which one was that.
Okay, look, I may email you. I'll do it for free. Okay, I won't share, but I'll email you a few pictures. So Riwad, what do we have over there? What you have going on at MRA? We talked about MRA and that football field. They're building something else over there. So what's next for you? What do you have going on there?
Well, MRA just put up a new set of bleachers, which was kind of awkward because they took them down for my soccer season in the winter, and so our fans just they got the short end of the stick, but it's not a big deal. And so I'm glad that they're doing it. MRA gets bigger every year, but we're going to have a graduation in July for us. So MRA is taking good care of us.
Good. So you talked about the soccer season. How was it? How was your soccer season?
It was fun. I enjoyed it. We didn't get as far as we wanted. We lost in the semis against Prep, but it was a lot of fun. And I think the memories that we made were worth it for sure.
Will we blame it on the bleachers? You think it's the bleachers? Is that
yeah, definitely. It was the bleachers that we didn't win.
Okay, look, well, maybe there's a redo. Maybe we can go back. So tell me, what are your plans? You're leaving MRA. What's next for you? What are you gonna do? Where are you gonna go?
I'm going to the University of Alabama at Birmingham in the fall, and I'm gonna be majoring in neuroscience, and I'm hoping in the long run to make it to medical school.
Great. So are you thinking medical school here in Mississippi or coming back? What are we going to do?
I'm hoping to go out and maybe I have a friend at UAB who already, and he says that a lot of people will go out. And so he knows somebody that's going to the Harvard Med School. So I'm hoping to go out and maybe go to a top tier med school. But if not, I'm okay with coming back home and going into UMC. I'm okay with that too.
Okay. So we talked about a little bit of that. We talked about your soccer, your star teacher. How do you determine this? I know it was hard. You weren't afraid before you got the rest of your grades to pick your favorite. You didn't think your teacher's going to say, hold on, wait, why did you pick me? How do you determine that? Do you think they already know?
Well, for me, it was kind of people almost already knew who it was going to be because I've had this same teacher. I've worked with him ever since 8th grade. I had a class with him in 8th grade, and I didn't have him again for a class until my senior year. But we do a lot of stuff together. He coaches martial arts, and I took that with him. And he's also does ultimate frisbee, and I did that with him. And he also does the science Olympiad team too, and I did that with him too. So I probably saw him more than I saw like certain of my friends because I would see him twice a week in some form. And so we worked together for years, and he's one of my friends now. He actually gave me an ultimate frisbee disc, and he wrote a message on it, and we played with it yesterday. Me and my friends did. So he's really special to me, and everyone probably already knew that he was going to be my star teacher, but it was nice to finally give him that honor.
And what's his name?
His name is Matt Bermucci.
Okay. So look, we're after COVID, we're like, what does school look like after COVID? So if you could think back to what school looked like pre-COVID, and if you could go back and say, I can do my whole senior year over, what does school look like? How do you think it will benefit? What would you like to see done differently? And then we're always challenged. You guys are always challenged. So let's challenge the teachers out there. What would they have to do when you're looking for a star teacher? What's the criteria of picking a star teacher? What are these students? What do you want to see in the person that's leading you and teaching you? Anybody can, either one of you guys can jump in and grab that one.
I'll get it. My star teacher that I chose was Jonathan Begno. He's been teaching physics at Tupelo for the past 10 years. And I've had him for physics 1 and 2, but the reason that I chose him for my star teacher is I feel like he made an impact on me, leading me towards engineering. I'm going into engineering at Mississippi State. So his physics class really helped me to find that path. But something that really stuck out to me about Coach Begno is that he really kept on teaching. He teaches not just to prepare us for a test. He teaches not just to give us a grade, but he teaches so that we can learn. And he kept on teaching throughout the quarantine and all that. He just posted a video yesterday of him going over something with electricity and all that. And he just keeps on teaching so that we can learn. I feel like I've learned a lot more in his class. Maybe it wasn't directly related to a physics curriculum, but I've learned about things in his class. And that's something that I really think is important in a teacher, that they teach so that we can learn, not just to get a paycheck or to prepare us for a test or to give us A or whatever. We need to actually learn. And I think Coach Begno has done a really great job of that.
Thank you. And Riwad, you talked about yours, how he keeps you active. And I'm pretty sure you say he gave you a disc, but I'm sure that had nothing to do with why you selected him. John, tell us about your favorite teacher. What made you decide? How do you get the criteria for a favorite teacher? What impact did they make on you? Or what can you give these up and coming teachers, a little input on how to become selected as a star teacher?
I'm not really sure. I guess I like Latin, and his class was always one of the ones that I enjoyed. Maybe not this year because I'm kind of tired. But yeah.
So you like Latin. So do you sometimes feel that do you speak in that, like, do you normally use your skills sometimes in that? No.
Use my Latin skills?
Yeah, like dancing. Well, do you like Latin dancing? Tell
go beyond the language, yeah.
Yeah, about the language.
About Latin? I guess, I mean, you'd actually be surprised how often it comes up, because so much of the Romance languages is derived from Latin. And then all the early works in the sciences were written in Latin. So pretty much all scientific terminology is adapted directly from Latin. So it can be really helpful with that.
So it kind of ties it in, makes a lot of sense, makes a lot of sense. Yes, yeah, and I heard you say the romance part of it too. So, but I'll let you have that. I won't put you on the spot with that one. So we talked about our teachers. You talked about, look, Nathan, you mentioned Mississippi State Go Dogs, you know, University of Alabama, and John, you're going to, where are you going? Study botany?
Yes.
Yes. So where are you going? What school? Where have you chosen to go to study?
UNC Chapel Hill.
Okay, good. So I think we COVID. So what are you guys doing different? Nathan, what do you have going on in Tupelo, Mississippi, with COVID going on happening?
Well, my family's been around the house, so I've gotten to hang out with them a good bit more, which is something that I've enjoyed. We actually went hiking at a state park last week because that was something just to do different, because my birthday was last week and they just wanted something fun for me to get out. And so I enjoyed that. But I've just really enjoyed being able to kind of refocus, because I feel like we get so caught up in things that aren't necessarily the most important. I mean, I love sports. I would go to every MSU baseball game if I could, but obviously that's been taken away. So it's just been good to focus on things that matter a little bit more, like being with your family and focusing on just those kinds of things that are going to last a little bit longer than a baseball season or something like that.
And so you have a younger brother, don't you? Have a younger brother? How old is your brother? So you get a chance to spend time with him before you go out to Mississippi State. How old is your brother? And I know he's enjoying that.
Yes, ma'am. He's 13. He just finished 7th grade.
Good deal. So you're leaving him with mom and dad. So tell us about your birthday. When was your birthday last week?
May 15th on Friday.
Friday. So did you get a cool shirt that said I had a quarantine birthday? Like everyone
I didn't get one of those shirts. I did get an MSU baseball shirt though, so there's a theme here.
There's a theme there. Well, look, I guess so. So I think we're hitting it. Is there anything you guys want to tell us? We talk about, you know, in the business community, we talk about talent retention. We talk about brain drain. We talked about keeping our best and brightest here in the state of Mississippi. Can you teach us today and teach the business leaders that are listening? Look, you have the floor to tell us, what do we need to do in the state of Mississippi to keep our best and our brightest here? And look, take it easy on us. Take it easy on us. If it's something a little hard, just email it to us. Look, we're all in a pilot. You can give us some pointers to live by and learn by, to take it to the next step. Help us out. What do we need to do to keep people like you in the state of Mississippi, or to recruit them into our great state?
Well, for me personally, I like being around home and all, and I absolutely plan on staying as close to home as I can. But I think it is important to allow people to go out and explore. And like Riwad said, he wanted to go to Harvard Med School or something like that. That's important to let them do that and give them that choice. But I think that the way that you are going to recruit people and keep them here is to leave them that open choice and just make Mississippi the most attractive option. Because something that I've heard countless times is that the universities in Mississippi, especially Mississippi State, has one of the best presentations for incoming college students. And that's something that's attractive to people. And as far as a business thing, you provide incentives for businesses to come here and locate here. And I think that that's something that's important. You let them have that choice, but just make Mississippi the obvious choice.
Thank you. Riwad, John, can you help us out? Tell us, teach us, what do we need to do? Recruit, retain, the best and the brightest here in Mississippi. So when you go to med school and you can come back, or you can recruit people to come to Mississippi, what do we need to do?
I'm not sure. I mean, I've thought of coming back to Mississippi after grad school. I went out of state because I thought that there would be more opportunities out there. UNC has really big herbarium. There's a lot of research going on there that isn't going on in Mississippi. So, you know, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't want to come back here once I'm done with my education.
You can always bring that knowledge. You can bring that knowledge back here. I was born and raised in Mississippi, but I moved away. My family moved away when I was younger. So I was in Los Angeles for 15 years and I'm back. And if I leave, it's to visit. And this will be my home. I like family. I like being able to go to grandma and have the sweet tea in the refrigerator and just looking at the lantanas, but she would have them in a pot because she didn't want them to spread everywhere. So she kept them in a pot. So Riwad, tell us the best and the brightest. You're doing a commercial right now. Tell us what we need to hear to retain the best and the brightest Mississippians here, or bring them here.
I think for me, it was when I chose to go out of state, it was that Birmingham had more opportunities. At least for me, it was medical wise. I know that one of my options was Ole Miss, and I really loved Ole Miss, but they're really far away from a big medical center. And UMC is a nice hospital, but it's nowhere near. Like, I had an opportunity to go to Rice, and that they have the Texas Medical Center, which is huge. And so I think the best way to keep talent or to recruit talent is to make sure that there are opportunities for research and getting involved in different discoveries or different types of industry in Mississippi. That'd be really important.
Great. So I have 3 kids. I have a son that's 25, went to Ole Miss. I have a senior at Madison Central that is going to Mississippi State. And my daughter has her top 3 schools, and none of them are in the state of Mississippi. Imagine that. And I work for the state chamber, right? And so
she's still young.
She's still young. She's been saying this for a while. So her top is UAB because she wants to be a forensic psychologist. And she's thinking about Spelman in Atlanta, and she's thinking about LSU. So they're all close. So I'm okay with that. And you think about it, we try to open you guys up and expose you to so much. And then you're saying, okay, we're exposing you to everything. And then we're saying, stay. And so I'm just, home. She said, hey, just keep a house there for me so I can have somewhere to come. And when I want to bring my friends. So I said, hey, if I need to cook a meal to recruit them to come here, that's what I'll do. So if you can tell a up and coming senior, what do they need to do to prepare to be the top 3 students in the state with ACTs, with a cumulative GPA, what can you tell them, and what do you do to prepare yourself for like the studying? And look, this is like a loaded question, and with the different guidelines with the ACTs, and you're like, really, now you're gonna do this? Tell us how you think all of that is gonna play, and what would you tell your younger self, or what would you tell a junior if we asked you to come back and talk to the juniors in the state of Mississippi?
What I would say is, obviously, you work hard, stay determined, because sometimes school will get tough. Sometimes you'll be in a difficult class, but persevere, get through it. But also, one of the most important things to me is do it the right way. Don't just go to get a grade like I was talking about with my teacher. Don't just go to make other people proud and get the recognition for yourself, because obviously we've not gotten all of that this year with all of this pandemic, but that doesn't change what we've done. So do it the right way. One of the most important things that I got an award a couple years ago at school for the Code of Ethics Award, just because of what other people noticed in my actions, how I did things. And that's an important thing, that people notice that. And I think that lends itself very well to business environment also, if you're noticed as someone who does things the right way and not just does it to get to that bottom line you want, that's going to be very helpful in school and business, in your career, whatever you go into. Do it the right way.
Thank you, thank you. John, what will you tell your younger self? And we're putting you on the stage to tell the 11th grade, the junior class, to prepare for their senior year. What would you tell them to get that 36? What did you do? Did you play the piano? Were you in the yard or outside just getting your brain right? How did you make it work for you?
So I just took the ACT once a year. I think what really made me get a 36 was having to take so many AP exams. I was just used to multiple choice tests, so it wasn't really that big a problem at that point.
So what, because I can be so over the top. So when you see what your grade is, what was your reaction? What did you do when you guys when you said, okay, I know you're pacing and you're like, I really want to get this score to do this. And when you got that score and you knew what it was, what was your reaction, Riwad? And then I need to see what you're going to tell your younger self, or what would you tell the juniors?
Well, so, I mean, I guess I was surprised that I had only missed one. I thought, I had a 35 already, so, after all that practice, it wasn't that unexpected that I would get a 36, but the scores usually do go up over time, but
so look, out of the two, mom or dad, which one was more excited, mom or dad?
I don't know.
I don't know, it'd probably be a mom on this side. So Riwad, tell me, what would you tell your younger self, or you're coming back to talk to the fans that sit in the stadium at MRA? What are you going to tell them about their junior year? What would you do differently, or would you encourage them to get to where you become?
I'd probably say take it seriously, grind it out early. A lot of people, at least at MRA, they always put the ACT off and say, okay, don't worry, I'll worry about that. Second semester junior year, I'll worry about it senior year, and they want to focus on other things. But I mean, eventually you got to start somewhere, and if it's a lot easier if you start early, because I was done with my ACT. I made my 36 in April of my junior year.
Awesome.
And over the next 5 or 6 months, I watched my friends almost tear themselves apart trying to keep getting higher ACT scores. I had one friend that took one every month up until we were trying to raise her score. So start early, and it'll make it easy in the long run.
Good advice.
I think that's great advice. So I think we're going to wrap up because we have a video to show our guests, and we're going to highlight the Hall of Fame teachers, those that have been selected as a star teacher for the past 10 years. We have, the top 20 that had the cumulative score, you guys, the three of you guys. And we have the other 332 students listed, and we have a message from our governor. And before that, we're going to take us out. Nathan, do you have that joke for us, that dad joke for us for Father's Day?
So just to explain what a dad joke is, if you don't understand that, it's just a really bad joke that you'd expect from your dad. So my grandfather's actually watching this. He just sent me a joke that he wanted me to share. So what makes a joke a dad joke? It's when it becomes apparent.
That's good. That's good.
That's pretty good. Thank you, Nathan. And look, happy Father's Day. We are so happy you guys can join us. And I am so sorry. Look, I said if you guys like coffee that I would treat you to your coffee today, and I'll send you gift cards. But no coffee drinkers. Is there anything else? Last chance. I'm not making any more offers. Is there something that one in your area that I can send you? No, it's not going to be like big money. It's not going to be like scholarship money, but I will buy you a Coke or a Dr. Pepper. Anything? You're good? You're good. Well, thank you. We hope you enjoyed it. Look, we're going to go out, and we have a pre-recorded message from our governor, because we are the state chamber and we don't want anything slipping through the cracks. So we're going to get on with our day. Enjoy your day. Thank you guys for being here. Granddad, thanks for that joke. It was pretty good. It was pretty apparent. And I'm happy he's watching. Tell him we said hello, and have a great, great Thursday, you guys. And try to stay dry. And remember, self-help, social distancing is the new self-love. So take care of yourself, 6 feet apart. And we enjoy you. Go to our website, www.mec.ms. You can learn about STAR. You can learn about Education Celebration. You can learn about Tech Masters. You can learn about Mississippi Scholars. And you can also learn about Leadership Mississippi here, all at MEC. Thank you and have a great day. Brett, it's on you. You got the video ready for us? Look, I think he's scared to talk because I had to tell him, I had to text him and say, we can hear you in the live feed. Brent is gonna take us out with this video. And until then, we're gonna look like the Brady Bunch out here smiling until the video comes on.
Here we go.
And we're gonna be ready. Thank you, Brent.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Hello. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to address the STAR students and the STAR teachers here today. I've had the pleasure over the last 10 years of giving a fairly long address to this group.
We just
and so some of the teachers
well,
who
thank you
are
guys
the best
so much.
and
Are
that we
you,
have
do
to
you
offer
feel
in
good about
Mississippi. Many of
everything?
you come back year after year. You're
Yes.
probably
Look, John Kees,
pleased
I'm
that you don't have to
sending you
listen to my
those
speech
pictures
again.
now. Don't ignore
I
my
want to say
email.
to the STAR students, y'all are awesome.
Rewad,
Y'all
I
are
was
the
going to ask,
best
did you
and
get
the
your letter?
brightest Mississippi
Yeah, I think they could hear us on the video.
I'll
Let's
also
be
tell
quiet.
you that with great admiration from me, you also have a lot of opportunity to do good. And so I want to tell you that I want you to choose what you're going to do next in life, where you're going to go to school next, how you're going to further your education. But I also want you to always remember that you have an obligation to give back. I want you to think about that first grade teacher maybe that you were struggling one day, and that first grade teacher gave you a little words of encouragement. Or what about your Sunday school teacher in the 4th or 5th grade? Maybe things weren't going great for you that particular day, but they gave you a pat on the back and said, God loves you and everything's going to be okay. Or what about your 8th grade science teacher or your 9th grade English teacher, that person that when times are really tough stood up for you? What I want you to know is as you move on in life, you have an obligation to give back to them as well. You are our best and our brightest. You wouldn't be a STAR student in your local school if that weren't the case. But I will tell you, I am confident that you are going to do great things in life. You're going to do great things in whatever community you choose to live in. And as someone who's had the pleasure of speaking to STAR students for most of the last 10 years, you give me reason for great optimism for the future of our state and great optimism for the future of our country. We're going through a tough time right now. We know that. We're going through a time in which things just aren't exactly the way they're supposed to be in April and May, and won't be the same maybe even in June or July. But I know that we as Americans and we as Mississippians can overcome. We can adapt, and we can do even better. And so thank you all for all that you've done to this point. Thank you for all you're going to do in the future. And I look forward to working with you. And thank you for giving me reason for optimism for our future. Thank you all, and God bless.